So guys, what I'm about to talk about in this video is something I pray none of anyone watching this ever has to experience. And if you have experienced it, I am sorry that this has happened to you, but I'm glad that I can relate to what's going on and know that I'm not alone, and for you to know that you're not alone as well. But I just hope it's something that no pregnant woman or any woman in general ever has to deal with. Like ever. Because it's probably the worst thing that could happen to anyone, especially, trying to bring a child into this new world. Yo, guys, if you know someone who's pregnant, send that person flowers, give that person chocolate. Like, genuinely, they deserve so much. This is not easy. There's so many things that happen to you, there's so many things that can happen to your body. It's not easy at all. So, what I'm about to tell you guys today, it happens to every, or not every, but less than 4 in 10,000 women, which is like a 0.04% probability of it happening. And I saw some articles saying that it has a 0.1% chance of happening. Others were saying like between 0.015 to 0.0, basically less than 1% chance of happening, right? There's a less than 1% chance of what happened to me and what I'm about to tell you guys happening to anybody. So imagine how unlucky I have had to be for this to happen to me. And I kind of find it ironic because it's like I keep talking about, I'm trying to keep my pregnancy private because I don't want to follow you and all that stuff. But they are finding me, guys. They're finding me, or they found me. I don't even know what happened. But they did not succeed because I made it through what obstacle was put in front of me. And yo, I pray I never have to go through it again because, yeah, I lost an organ, guys. It's been. It's been a crazy couple weeks, but let me not jump ahead. Let me just tell you guys the full story, right? So, guys, the last thing we spoke about was me telling you guys that I was diagnosed with fibroids. I went to the hospital with crippling pain on my right side. And then they told me I had a pedunculated fibroid, which is a fibroid that like is attached to my uterus. And yeah, they said that it's not going to affect my pregnancy, and if necessary, after giving birth, the fibroid can be removed or whatever if necessary, like if it's physically harming me or anything like that. But yeah, they basically explained to me how a lot of women have fibroids. And yeah, I did a lot of research on fibroids, and it's true, a lot of women have fibroids. Like, people go their whole life with fibroids and they don't even know they have them. It's just things that are in your womb. It's like cysts, you know what I mean? They're just there. Some of them are benign, so they don't really like affect your day-to-day life. It's just one of those things that, yeah, can affect pregnancy, but for the most part it usually doesn't. And there's not much that can be done about them because they're in the uterus, right? They're either outside the uterus, attached to the lining of the uterus, or they are directly inside the uterus where the baby is. So obviously there's nothing that can really be done about that during pregnancy because it's way too close and puts a risk to the actual fetus during pregnancy. So it's not something that's ever anything is ever done about during pregnancy. So that's what I was told I had. And after I got told I had fibroids, the pain was painful for like a week. And then this was in February. We're in today is the 31st of March. Eid Mubarak, everyone. Everyone who is a Muslim, you're fasting. Eid Mubarak. So I pretty much was asymptomatic for like, I think, almost a month. From February until like mid-March, I wasn't really having any symptoms. I knew I had a fibroid, and I improved my diet in a way to like try and reduce the size of the fibroid, because there's natural ways you can try to reduce it. So I was trying like to eat brown foods, and I was trying to like increase my vegetable intake, trying to drink more like turmeric and herbs and all these kind of things, green tea that Google says can help with fibroid reduction, right? So on like, I don't even know what date that was, sometime later in March, I woke up one night and I was fine the night before. I was fine like for the last month. And then I woke up one night with like this extreme pain in my right side. And it was like 1 a.m. Then I was like, okay, maybe I can, if I chill, if I do this, because I did not want to wake up Aziz because he had been short on sleep, and I just didn't want to disturb him. So I was like, "Nah, I can get through this." So I tried to like do different things, change my position, try to go back to sleep. Nothing was working. The pain just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And 30 minutes later, I wake up Aziz. I'm telling him I'm in so much pain. We need to like go to the hospital now. Obviously, we don't have a car yet, so We call an ambulance and it comes. We moved, by the way, guys. We no longer live far away. We used to live like a bit far from Habarone, but we moved like, to Gabs. So we call an ambulance and we explain the situation. And yeah, like 20 minutes later, there's an ambulance outside here to pick me up for the pain. And I kept telling I was telling the people in the ambulance, now I have fibroids. They told me if they ever like cause me serious pain again, I should, immediately go to the hospital and whatnot. So the ambulance arrives, we go to the hospital, and guys, I also want to mention this, but I felt so neglected whenever like I would try and talk to different nurses and doctors about my fibroids, because I used to go to the hospital in DRM, because where we used to live was closer to that hospital, Deborah Memorial Hospital of Muchudi. I used to go there, and every single time it was like, it's just fibroids. Like nobody cared. I was explaining to these people how much pain I was in. Nobody was like taking me seriously. They were setting appointments for me to meet with like an OBGYN like 3 months or 2 months into the future. And I'm like, I'm in pain now. I need help now. And like nobody was like taking my pain seriously, and that hurt. Like that really, really upset me. So when I called the ambulance, I was in the ambulance and I couldn't even lay down, guys. I'm like sitting and crouching and I'm in so much pain. And I get to the ambulance and they take me to Marina. And when we get there, they immediately take us to accident. Me and I was with Aziz at this time. They immediately take us to the ER, like the emergency accident, whatever thing. So when I get there, I sit down and then they're like, oh no, we spoke to the OBGYN, they're gonna do a scan, just sit down and wait. And the time is like 3 a.m., guys. I sat there and I screamed and I groveled in pain at Princess Marina Hospital until the following day at 1. I don't even want to get into the details of what happened because it stresses me out. Like, I kept telling them how much pain I was in. The pain was so bad, I was vomiting. It was just such an excruciatingly bad experience, and even thinking about it makes me upset because I kept telling them I'm in so much pain, and then they kept telling me, the doctor's coming, like this is that and the third, and nobody ever came to see me, like to the point where I ended up just coming home because I'm like, you know what, if nobody is gonna take me seriously, I might as well just go home and suffer. Like that's how bad it was. Like I sat there for hours and hours and hours in the worst pain of my life, and they kept telling me, no, because it's fibroids, there's pretty like it's not taken seriously at all, because they think you're fibroids. It's not something that takes seriously, and you're telling them you're in so much pain. I couldn't even walk. Like the pain had gone all the way down to my leg, and I'm telling them this, and like nobody cared. So I ended up going home with the pain. I left the hospital. I went home with the pain on that Monday. The pain had started on Sunday. I mean, on Monday, like at 1 a.m., right? So I went home around 1 in the afternoon, and I wasn't even discharged. I told the nurse I am leaving because she had already put a drip in my arm, but like one of those tubes that receives like liquids and whatnot just in case they needed to give me something. But I told her, take this thing out of my arm, I'm going home. I feel very medically neglected. I don't feel like anyone is taking me seriously with how much pain I'm in, and I want to go home, and at least at home I can be comfortable. I can be comfortable at home. So she takes out the drip and they discharge me, and they make me sign a paper that says that I'm leaving the hospital against like doctor's supervision or against their thing. But I couldn't do it anymore. I physically did not have it in me to just sit there and be ignored and be vomiting all over myself. It was just very, very dehumanizing. So I went home with the pain, and I thought that it was going to be like the first time. I thought that it's just gonna last a few days, and then after a few days it's just gonna disappear. Guys, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was in this bed. I couldn't sit upright by myself. I couldn't shower by myself. Aziz had to do everything for me, and Aziz was fasting, so he's also tired, and he has to cook for me, and he's fasting, and he has to like help me bathe, and he's fasting, and I could not even walk. It was so bad. It was so painful. It got to the point where I could not laugh without being in physical pain. I couldn't do anything. And And I tried my best to avoid taking painkillers because I didn't want to take too much medication while pregnant, because it's not good for the baby. So I didn't want to do anything to harm the baby. And they're telling me you have fibroids, whatever. The month was March, and I think my appointment at Marina to see the OBGYN that they had scheduled for me was in May, if I'm not mistaken. It was 2 months after. That's what I remember. They scheduled me to see the OBGYN 2 months after I went there. So nobody was, helping me. I was telling Aziz, I was like, look, I need to do a scan. I understand we don't have medical aid and it's going to be a bit more expensive if we go do a scan at a private clinic, but I need to do a scan. So I contacted different clinics on Facebook to see like who can do a scan for us at the most affordable price. I tried reaching out to Bokamso Hospital. I tried reaching out to, like, there were different hospitals at Airport Junction. I tried reaching out to, until I contacted Miranda Clinic. It's in KB Mall in Basra. I contacted them, and then they like told us a better price to be able to do the pregnancy scan and like see what the hell is actually going on. I scheduled an appointment and I told them, people, I can't walk, so I can't sit in line, I can't do anything, so please can I just come and like not have to sit in line. And then the lady was like, yeah, sure, if you come first thing in the morning, like you're there when you open the doors, you won't have to wait. I'm like, cool. So we arrive there first thing in the morning, we take a taxi and we do a scan, and the doctor tells me, you don't have fibroids. And I was so confused at this point because I thought that I had fibroids. And looking back, it breaks my heart the amount of pain I was in, thinking that's normal. I had psychologically convinced myself, because I kept being told what I'm going through is normal. Like that, the level of pain and discomfort and not being able to do for myself, they kept telling me it's normal with fibroids. That was not normal. I don't know what fibroids like feel like, and I don't mean to discredit anyone's experience who has ever had fibroids or who has fibroids while pregnant, but what I went through was a different kind of excruciating, that I just knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong. And they kept telling me nothing is wrong, it's perfectly normal to have fibroids, a lot of women have fibroids, right? And it's not cancerous, it's not going to affect your kid. That's what they kept telling me. But finally, a doctor who actually listened to me. So this doctor tells me that you don't have fibroids, your ovary is inflamed. That's what he tells me. And I was confused. He said that what I'm seeing in this scan, guys, the first time I did a scan, when they thought that it was a fibroid, the mass was 8 centimeters. Now the mass is 10 centimeters, and it's like inflamed, and it has a cyst, and it's just painful. Then he's like, this is not a fibroid, this is your ovary. Your ovary has a torsion. You have ovarian torsion. But ovarian torsion is when your ovary like twists on its axis, like it twists across the nerves that are carrying it or whatever, and it twists like this and blocks its own blood supply. And because it's not receiving enough blood, it starts to like die slowly, right? So that's what the doctor tells me is happening to me. And I'm like very, very confused. And then he's like, you need surgery like yesterday. And I'm like confused, because at this point I was thinking these were fibroids, but to hear that it's not and I need surgery is like, what? So it's Saturday, and I'm like, I don't think Marina's gonna help me on Saturday. We'll go on Monday to the clinic. I was telling Aziz, I was like, we'll just go on Monday to the clinic and get a referral. Because if you have a referral at Marina, that's when they like, help you a bit quicker, because it's a referral hospital or something like that. You need like a referral from another clinic or something. So yeah, that's what we decided. So we took the diagnosis that the doctor said, and I went home, and I was still confused because I'm like, so I don't have fibroids? Like, I was very confused. So I started doing all the research I can on ovarian torsion, and there's not actually much research about it out there because it's not common. Like, there's a less than a 1% chance for it to happen, and let alone to a pregnant woman, it's very, very unlikely to happen. So there was not really that much. I tried, like, because with fibroids I could find so many YouTube videos of women explaining the experience of being pregnant with fibroids, but with an ovarian torsion I was like very confused. Like, okay, I don't have fibroids, fine, but what I do have, I don't know anything about. I don't know what causes it. I don't like, I was so completely confused, right? So on Monday, I was not able to walk, obviously. I was limping on my right side and it was very, very painful for me to walk. So Aziz decided to go to the clinic by himself and, try and get the referral for me. So he goes to the clinic around like 11, and at 12 he calls me. Then he's like, yo, the nurse, the midwife is asking you to come to the clinic right now. There's a doctor here. She wants you to consult with. So I'm sitting, like I'm wearing Crocs. I'm sitting down. I'm just, doing some couple of things on the computer. And then I'm like, fine. So I just go in, I just change my outfit. I was wearing pajamas. So I just changed my outfit and I wanted to go to the hospital, to the clinic, but it's like a bit of a walk. So I saw a car outside going in that direction. Then I'm like, could you please give me a lift? I'm going to the clinic. So they obviously give me a lift. And then when I get to the clinic, the nurse is like, okay, you need to go talk to the doctor immediately. You have an emergency, what. So there was a line, but she said I should just jump the line. What I have is like an emergency. So I jump the line, I go inside and I'm consulting with the doctor. And he basically just asks me what the problem. Then I'm like, they said I have ovarian torsion or something like that, but I don't know what that means. And yeah, so then he starts trying to touch my belly and then he touches where the ovary is. And guys, I kid you not when I say if anyone touches that place, immediately I scream. It was so excruciatingly painful. I screamed. So after that, the doctor's like, okay, I'm gonna go call a doctor, a specialist at Marina. I'll get back to you. So he goes out the room for like 20 minutes, and me and Aziz are just there, like, we're literally just sitting and waiting for feedback. So then he comes back and then he's like, okay, so I'm about to go for lunch, but the ambulance is on its way. It's gonna take you to Marina. You're gonna have surgery today. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I'm pregnant. What do you mean I'm gonna have surgery today? Then he's like, Ish, you're like 20. I was 24 weeks pregnant, guys. And then 24 weeks and a full-term baby is 40 weeks. So then I'm like, what do you mean? Then he's like, there's a possibility your baby could be born today. There's a possibility they're gonna remove your ovary. There's a possibility they're just gonna go inside and untwist it. And I'm listening to him talk. I'm like, what? Surgery today? I have not even showered. And you're telling me I'm gonna have surgery today. I wasn't even taking it seriously at that point. So we sat there and we waited. And like 20 minutes later, an ambulance shows up with a gurney and they put me on the gurney. I'm like just sitting and they like put me in the ambulance and it's like beeping. Wee, 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 wee. You know what ambulances do? And Aziz is like, okay, I'm gonna call your mom. This is getting serious. So Aziz calls my mom to come because we are like, just things are just happening, guys. So I get to Marina, they take me to the labor ward and they make me sit in a room. And I'm just sitting there the whole time. And then they take me for a scan. They take me for a scan with a first doctor. And then this doctor does an ultrasound and she observes the mess. And then she's like, I don't know. I feel like this might be a fibroid. I'm not really sure if it's a fibroid or your ovary. I'll call a specialist because she was not like a specialist in that department. I'll call a specialist to come and do a second ultrasound. So she made me go back and sit down. So I went back to sit down. And then I asked her, I was like, can I eat? And then she's like, yeah, sure, you can eat. Aziz buys me fresh chips because I had not eaten anything since morning. Like I ate before I left the house, but like I don't know, I was already hungry by then. So then Aziz goes outside Marina and he buys me fresh chips. And then he comes back and about I finish eating and then about 30 minutes later the specialist she actually guys, the specialist who did the second scan was actually a surgeon. I didn't know that at the time, but yeah, they don't really introduce themselves at Marina. Rude. So she comes and she does the ultrasound. Then she's like, yeah, this is definitely your ovary. So we're doing the surgery today. And I'm like, surgery for what? And then she was like, basically the surgery is going to be exploratory. We're going to go inside and see what's going on with your ovary. And we're going to try and untwist it. And if we untwist it and it's still alive, you get to keep your ovary. But if we untwist it and it's dead, we remove it. And I'm like, what about the baby? Then they're like, there's a few things that could happen. There's a possibility of miscarriage. There's a possibility of the baby being born now and having to, be a premature, living in an incubator. And guys, keep in mind, I'm 24 weeks. My baby is 600 grams. A newborn is supposed to be like 2.5 to like 3.5 kg. And my baby is 600 grams. Guys, that's not even like, that's less than 1 kg of sugar. And 1 kg of sugar is like this small. Like, no, like, that's not, I was not prepared to bring new life forth to this world. I did not know what is what. Like, yo, hi, man. So then they asked me, have you eaten? I'm like, yeah, I ate fresh chips 30 minutes earlier. They're like, why? Why did you eat? Now we have to wait 6 hours. So they say they're going to wait 6 hours for the surgery. And I'm still like, okay. They take me to the room and I'm supposed to wait. They said, don't eat or drink anything for 6 hours. And guys, I was so thirsty. I was so thirsty. They leave me in the room and Aziz is like, and then I'm telling Aziz, I'm like, okay, this is serious. Initially I had told my mom not to come when the first doctor was like, oh, it might just be a fibroid, because I knew if it's a fibroid they're not going to do surgery. So I was telling my mom, okay, you don't have to come, because I know my mom is also fasting, so making her come all the way and all that kind of stuff. So by the time they said for sure I'm going to do surgery, it was too late for my mom to come. So she said she would come the following morning. I tell Aziz to like go home and get me a few toiletries and some few things I might need, because I wanted to take a shower, and the room that they kept me in, the next room had a shower. So he quickly went home and he left for like 3 hours, guys. I was so bored because when he left, my phone was at like 14% and then it died before he came back. I was so bored. I was still in denial. I still didn't believe I'm going to have surgery that day. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things. It's like, you're not operating on my abdomen while I'm carrying a baby. Are you serious? Like, you know what I mean? So Aziz went to get the stuff and then eventually he came back. And then after he came back, I quickly took a shower. And then I came out the shower and there was a guy who came and then he's like, hi, I'm going to be your midwife through the surgery. And I'm like, okay, nice to meet you. And yeah, he just puts a hairnet on me and then he like labels me. He puts this band on me with my name and my ID number. And yeah, so eventually while I'm just sitting there with Aziz, they come and then they're like, it's time for your surgery. And then they tell me to take all my clothes off, like butt naked. So I do. And then they put me on a stretcher and then they put like this really warm towel on me, which felt nice. I was so scared because, guys, I was really scared. There were so many things that were like a possibility during the surgery. I could have died for one. And for two, like my baby, like there was a possibility that he wasn't gonna make it. And my baby's a boy, guys. I'm tired of, constantly thinking around the gender. He's a boy. So there was a possibility he wasn't gonna make it or be premature, and we're just not ready for all of that. Yeah, they're dragging me out on the stretcher. And guys, Aziz had been fasting that day and he hadn't eaten anything because obviously by the time it was time for him to break his fast, he was with me in the hospital. So he had not eaten anything that day. So then I'm on the stretcher and they're rolling me away from him. And the last thing I do is I turn around and I look at him and I'm like, go home and eat. Because I knew if I don't say that, he'll probably stay there and wait for my surgery to be over. And guys, they rolled me out for surgery at like 11 p.m. So I'm like, nah, you can't stay here the whole night. Go home and eat something. You know what I mean? They take me away. And well, after I said that, I like looked up and I'm like, obviously on the stretcher. And like there's doctors and nurses just, rolling me. And I was there thinking, I was like, shit, God, please don't let me die on this table, because if I do, the last thing I would have ever said to Aziz is go home and eat. And that's not what I wanted to remember me. That's not how I wanted to remember me. So please don't let me die. So I was there praying, like as they were rolling me, I was praying for different things. I was praying for my safety. I was praying for the baby's safety. Because also, guys, I'm being put under anesthesia during the surgery. Like, guys, when I tell you a pregnant woman getting abdominal surgery is something that is so rare. I was the only person in that whole hospital. They took me to an antenatal ward after the surgery, but I was the only person in that whole hospital at the time that I saw personally who had abdominal surgery and is still pregnant. Not a C-section, abdominal surgery, and you're still pregnant. Like, and you continue your pregnancy after that, like, or you miscarry or whatever. But like, they said like what happened to me, it just does not happen. They don't operate on pregnant women. It's way too risky. And I just needed the surgery immediately because yeah, whatever. So they take me to this operating room, and then these doctors are coming and they're making small talk. I'm just like, I was still just looking around, and then they're like, "What are you allergic to?" And I'm like, I'm allergic to pollen, because I'm allergic to pollen." Then they're like, "Pollen?" And then like, we're talking about medicine. Then I'm like, "Bees." Ah, yeah, whatever. So I don't know if I'm allergic to any medicine. I've never taken medicine and had an allergic reaction. So I just said, I don't. There's no medicine I know that I'm allergic to. Then they were like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, they did that, and then they take me to the operating room, and they transfer me to a different table, and I'm like looking up, and there's this bright light just shining over me, and it's hot, and I'm sitting there. And guys, keep in mind, I've never had surgery, and I asked, like, am I going to be under anesthesia? Then they were like, there's a possibility they might give you like half anesthesia, like from the waist down. It's going to depend on, how much they need to cut or whatever. So I was like under the impression, and I was actually looking forward to that because I would have liked to be awake. I like to know what's going on with my body. You know what I mean? Sleeping was just like, it's not something I wanted to do. And they also said like the half one would also be safer for the baby because it's less anesthesia or something. So yeah, when I went in the room, I was under the impression I'm gonna get half, or I was hopeful because they never confirmed it. And then next thing, they put this mask on my face and they're like, count to 10. No, he didn't say count to 10. He said, open your eyes and take deep breaths. That's what he said. So he's telling me to open my eyes and take deep breaths, and I'm wearing this oxygen mask or whatever mask I was wearing. It's probably anesthesia. And he's like, take deep breaths. And then while I'm taking the deep breaths, I close my eyes. And he's like, no, don't close your eyes. The anesthesia is gonna close your eyes for you. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I open my eyes and I'm still taking the deep breaths. Guys, when I tell you, that's the last thing I remember about being in that room. And when I woke up, I'm like, damn, these people drugged me. So I wake up, guys. And when I wake up, I was on a gurney being transported to a different room. And then I'm like looking behind me, and the first thing I asked, like, there was someone pushing me. I'm like, am I still pregnant? She's like, yeah. I'm like, thank God. And then I was like, do I still have an ovary? She's like, no. Yeah, so guys, they removed my right ovary. That means I only have one. But if my one is working right, I don't know if it is because obviously I haven't done, hormonal tests or whatnot. If my one is working right, I can still be able to have kids. But my right ovary is gone. No ovary there. Pretty much, I was a pain in the ass because I was still in the operating area. I was just in a different room, and I was a pain in the ass because I was drugged on that anesthesia. And then my leg was painful because, guys, I think based on the feeling I had, I think the ovary was like crushing one of the nerves that goes to my leg or something, or like sitting on that nerve. Because every single time I would get the ovary pain, I had extreme pain in my right leg as well. Like I think I had sciatica. It's like some thing where, like, if something is sitting on a vessel or a nerve that goes to your leg or your upper body, it, like, affects that side. And I also used to get pain on my back too, so that's why I think I had sciatica. When I woke up from surgery, because the ovary was gone, my leg was pounding. Like, my leg was painful. So I'm like screaming, my leg. And then the lady's like, your leg? You just had abdominal surgery. What do you mean your leg? I'm like, my leg. So then she's like, I'm just screaming. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to give you something for the pain. Then she gives me an injection and I sleep. And then I wake up after a few hours. I'm like, please, can I have something for my leg? Like something to put under my leg. So she gives me like these hot water packs. And she puts them kind of under my leg and they feel so nice. And then I'm like, just, I was saying a lot of words. Like, I'm sure she was so tired of me by the time I left that room. I don't know if there was a watch or she kept telling me the time. But then eventually the time was like 6 o'clock. Then I was like, no, I need to go. I need to go see my family because visiting hours are from 7 a.m. to 7:30. So then I'm like, no, I need to be there for visiting hours. They're worried about me because my family had no idea what's going on. They don't know if the baby's born. Like, they don't know what to expect. All they know is I went to surgery. They don't know if I'm still pregnant. They don't know anything. I was very sure my family was worried, especially Aziz. I was so worried about him. So eventually they say, okay, someone is coming to get you. So someone comes and gets me and takes me to the antenatal ward. It's just basically a ward for pregnant women. I'm on a stretcher. I can't move. I can't do anything. And I have one of those pee things, pee tubes that is, automatically taking my pee. So yeah, that was fun. I actually like the pee tube. Like, the pee tube was probably my favorite part, because it's like, I don't need to get up to go pee. That was my favorite part. At 7, I was already in the antenatal ward, and then like 5 minutes or so later, after they dropped me there, I see like Aziz come in, and if you can, guys, the sigh of relief this man took, like the sigh of relief when he saw me. And the first thing he asks me, he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm okay." And then he's like, "The baby," and then I'm like, "I'm still pregnant." Oh my god, the sigh of relief, guys. My baby lived. My baby survived through the surgery. I have a 20 centimeter scar across my abdomen, but my baby was okay, and we were so happy. I was still very drugged up, but I was so happy. And then my mom comes in like 5 minutes after he gets there, and my mom was so happy to see me, and they were just really happy. So we just talk and chill and hang out and whatever. And eventually they leave after visiting hours, and I'm like taken to a bed. I couldn't stand, so they like picked up the sheet and kind of like slid me onto the other bed. And that whole day, guys, I had these crazy like contractions. I was having these contractions. At the time, I didn't know there were contractions, but I later found out that it was like my uterus's response to the surgery. So those contractions, my baby could feel them, and there was a possibility I was likely to miscarry at that point because of those contractions. So they were keeping me like to like monitor what's gonna happen with those contractions. So like my uterus was going in, out, and I could feel every single contraction, and it was so painful. And like, now that I think about it, I'm sad for my baby that he had to go through that, because it's like contractions are obviously like a third trimester late in pregnancy type of thing when your body's preparing for labor. So it's like the fact that I'm in my second trimester, my baby is only 24 weeks, and he's just feeling my uterus trying to eject him. I just feel so bad for him, but I'm happy that he's a fighter, and he kind of fought through that. You know what I mean? I'm happy about that, because it's just like, I don't know what I would have done if I lost my ovary for nothing, and I wasn't pregnant anymore. Like, guys, it's one thing to lose your ovary at 23 with your first child. You're pregnant with your first child, and it's supposed to be the best thing that ever happens to you in life. Like, you're supposed to be excited, and you end up losing something that, guys, I don't know how this is going to affect like my hormonal balance, because guys, as a woman, your uterus is so key and responsible for who you are as a person, like your hormones, your emotions, all these things. So I don't know how this is going to affect me in the long run. I don't know how it's going to affect my periods. I don't know how it's going to affect my fertility, but I know it is. And it's just, i I could not, I don't think I would have been able to go through that and not have my baby. Like, I need him, honestly, guys. I really need him. So yeah, eventually the contraction stopped after that day, post surgery. And yeah, over time I was able to walk. They made me walk like, I think, the next day, because they were saying that, like, you're pregnant, and obviously you just had a big surgery, so there's a risk of blood clots. So they made me start walking. So I did. They removed my pee tube so that I can walk to the bathroom. So I started walking, and I was very slow in walking. I'm still slow now, but not like then. Then it was like, took me like 30 minutes to go to the bathroom and come back. And I spent about 4 days at Marina before they discharged me. And yeah, throughout those 4 days I was just getting so much medicine, so much antibiotics. I have like a lot of dots on my fingers, on my hands, from like all the drips they gave me. It was a lot. It was really a lot. And yeah, guys, I kid you not when I say the recovery from the surgery is a way less daunting pain than I felt before the surgery. And I'm grateful to that doctor who I went to at Miranda Hospital. When I'm healed, when I feel better, because it's not even a week since my surgery, it's only been like 5 days. But when I feel better, I'm just gonna go there, and I'm gonna thank him. I'm gonna thank him, because, guys, my organ was failing. My ovary was dead. When they removed it, they said my ovary was like purple and black, meaning that my ovary was dead. And I tried to complain about the pain for so many months, and nobody took me serious. Um, Nobody like saw my pain, and I'm so glad that he was able to correctly diagnose me, because they really, it really wouldn't have ended well for me or the baby if he didn't. So I'm so glad he did. And it makes me wonder, like, if the first time I went to the hospital with pain, if they diagnosed me correctly, would my ovary still be alive? Because there's a possibility that if it was still alive, then if it was still viable, they would have just had to do the surgery to untwist it. But obviously, it had been 2 months, almost 2 months of me complaining about this pain, so my ovary was already dead. So I lost it. So that means that any child I am graced to have in the future is only going to be coming from my left ovary. And that's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. But I don't know. I choose to believe that the baby I'm carrying now came from my right ovary, the one that's gone. So I choose to believe that that's where he came from. So at least it gave me something. At least it gave me something. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm a mess. I am so sorry. I don't really like to cry in videos. I don't really like to cry at all. Y'all know I'm usually like, you know, a perky person. But hey guys, I've been through a lot. I can't be smiling all the time. This is trauma. Like, I feel like I did not realize in the moment that I'm being traumatized. It's now, looking back, I'm like, this was a traumatic experience. I spent 2 months in crippling pain, the most painful thing I've ever gone through in my life. But I'm alive, and RIP to the right ovary. But I'm just glad that they were able to do the surgery and my baby's still with me, because I physically, like, mentally, I don't have it in me to have a reality where I don't have this baby. I don't. And yeah, the funny thing is, guys, I have a 20 centimeter scar. They measured it. I have a 20 centimeter scar across my abdomen, and I'm still going to have to give birth naturally. So basically, I had a C section and a natural delivery all in one pregnancy, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, when you guys see this video, baby boy is already gonna be here. So yeah, I look forward to that. I'm telling you, I'm not having any more kids anytime soon. I need a few years to recover from this. It's been so much, and it's still so much, and I'm grateful that I got the help I needed. But the pain is like something I don't think I'll ever forget. Like, being told, like, my pain is not something that's an emergency, and I knew something was seriously wrong with me. It's probably the most traumatizing thing I like have ever gone through. I don't know how to be ignored. I don't like being ignored. I feel like nobody does, right? So having your pain and your situation be belittled or ignored or seen as something that's not an emergency, when really you've been misdiagnosed, is something that also I feel like Botswana's healthcare system could improve on. If a doctor is diagnosing something, especially pain in pregnancy, there should be at least two specialists doing that same scan, right? Like, I feel like that's the bare minimum. We should not just take the word of the first person who did the scan. Like, another person should do a follow-up scan, like, even if it's in a week, just a scan from a different person who has a different set of eyes, to see, like, if that person was diagnosed properly, because if I did not go to that private hospital, I would still be in pain right now. Yeah, I just can't wait to hear what you guys say about it in the comments. And yeah, I love you guys. I will see you guys next week. I'm actually filming a Q&A, like a pregnancy Q&A, so I'm really looking forward to that. So if you're interested in that, and if you want to see more content from me, please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. Please share this video with a friend, or on your status, or anywhere, like, literally, just that would be really nice. So yeah, I love you guys. I will see you guys next week, and bye. So I am almost 6 months pregnant. I think I'll be 6 months pregnant in the next 3 days. So yeah, this is what they did to me. The scar actually goes lower. It goes like way down to like my pubic bone. Yeah, this is me now, and my baby's still in there. This is my experience. It's my reality. This is motherhood. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah.